We're going to go right into questions, Coach Rumph, and we're going to start with Chris Stock from InsideTheU. Chris, if you had a question for Coach Rumph.
Coach, you've talked about improving interceptions, getting your hands on the ball over the last year or so. Just curious how that has gone in fall camp, and is there someone that has really stepped up their game in terms of, doing that, making interceptions or getting their hands on the ball more than they have in the past?
Yeah, we definitely want to do that. A lot of times, different coverages, have a lot of opportunities to see the quarterback handoff ball type of deals. Sometimes you're out there just running, covering the guy, and your hands got to be down on the hips. So it all really depends. But one thing I've done as far as trying to help the DB step up on the interceptions, just ball drills, getting them on the machines and the jugs at least 3 or 4 times a week. Involving a lot of ball drills and their individual drills as well, just to get them looking that ball in and get comfortable catching the ball. And right now, we've got our hands on some balls, but probably Marcus Clark probably has the most interceptions right now, just coming out of the last few days. And he's done some things. He has to work on his technique and get technically sound in what he's doing. But when the ball's in the air, because he plays so much receiver, he has a great job of tracking the ball.
Coach, we're going to go to Chris Perkins at Sports Illustrated. Chris, if you had a question for Coach Rumph.
Hey, Mike, I believe Manny Diaz said he liked what he saw from the secondary in last week's scrimmage. If you could give us 1 or 2 things that you liked from that scrimmage, and then 1 or 2 things you're looking for in Saturday's scrimmage.
I think we play with great leverage. Being out there on the edges, you have to make sure you take proper edges and take away certain things and certain defenses. And I think that the kids were very understanding of where their help was and how to leverage things. The second thing, I thought we came and ran to the ball really hard, and guys tackled. It wasn't a lot of guys loafing to the ball, so you can see that we cared about where the ball was at and what we were doing. And coming up in this scrimmage, I just want to see it look really clean. I keep saying that word, but when you watch film on us, I want to see all my corners doing the same technique. You can look at any corner and see that they've been taught to do specific things. And I think when they do things like that, it makes them easier to coach. So if they make a mistake and they got one way of doing things, I can correct it really quick. But if you got 10 ways of doing something, it's hard to correct it. So I just want to see clean, good work, and good technique.
Coach Rumph, we're going to go to Susan Miller-Degnan at the Herald. Susan, if you had a question for Coach.
Hey, Coach. As far as DEriq King goes, D. Wiggins said it was, defending him, he said it was very complicated, knowing that he can throw different types of balls to different types of receivers. What do you think? Can you expound on that, being complicated and defending him? What's complicated about it?
Well, DEriq goes through every single read. As you sit here and watch him, he'll look, at every progression and put his eyes in different spots. And very quickly, he can get the ball out into that spot. So I can understand to an offense how that could be surprising to see a quarterback that's not looking at you and then just throw the ball your way without even kind of not looking at you. I think that's a gift that I've seen at the next level. And he definitely has that gift. But what I'm more impressed about is just his coaching ability. He's almost like a coach on the field. You can't find one play after the play that he's not jogging with someone, talking or correcting or fixing something. So I think that attitude is great, and that is contagious. And once you get a whole offense or whole defense correcting each other and coaching each other, the sky is the limit.
One other follow is that about the NCAA recommending that all fall athletes, including football players, be given an extra year of eligibility next season because of the COVID situation. What are your thoughts on that? And is it good or bad, and why?
I think it's a good thing, because of the unknown that we've faced throughout the last 5 or 6 months. There's been so much unknown, and every day is an adventure, for guys like us. And I can understand it'd be more of an adventure for the players. So for the NCAA to do something like that, I think it shows the heart that they have and the vision they have of fixing something that it was kind of like out of our hand going through the pandemic. And I think it's a great opportunity for college football to just take a deep breath and allow these kids, for the uncertainty, to say, okay, I do have another opportunity to do this thing over again if things don't go right. So I just think that it's a great thing, and it shows that we're not just robots, and it's not just politics, and it's not all about the money. It's about doing what's right for this game, and I credit NCAA for that.
Thank you.
Coach, we're going to go to David Lake at InsideTheU. David, if you had a question for Coach Rumph.
Yeah, Coach, wanted to ask, you touched on it a little bit already, but you obviously know what championship level leader at quarterback looks like from your playing days at Miami. So in regards to DEriq King, it sounds like his leadership traits have impressed you already. Can you just expand on that? Like, what does he do specifically maybe that impresses you as a leader? And just how important is that for, of course, the offense, but also the defense too?
It's very important. The other day, we were doing a walkthrough, and I told my corners this. I asked them when we were in our meeting later after the walkthrough. I said, "Did y'all notice somebody watching us practice?" And it was one offensive player. It was maybe two, but DEriq was standing there watching our walkthrough, and he was kind of trying to figure out what the defenses were doing and why we were doing it. And I later learned it was a defense that he wasn't really good at. So for him to be out there trying to figure that whole thing out says a lot. But another kid came out there and watched it as well. And then it'll be another, and then another. And then you got everybody trying to figure out things like that. And then just talent-wise, I think he put the balls in places. You know, a lot of times college quarterbacks get the ball to the receiver. They don't know how to put it in front of them or behind them and put it in spots. I think he does that very well. And I think he's faster than we've seen. You know, he can run, and you on film, you're like, wow, he can run. But I really feel like DEriq has another gear that he has because of just how he runs and just me understanding track and how his hips and his turnover is. I think that guy has an extra gear. So his arm, ball placement, how fast he can run, and just being that student of the game.
Coach, we got a few more for you. We're going to go to Daryl Streeter at Footballville. Daryl, if you had a question for Coach Rumph.
Yeah, sure you got a question. What's going on, Coach? Coach, lots of Russo with Greg Russo. How does it affect your DBs? How does it affect the position? If it affects the unit?
I credit Greg for what he's doing, man, and we love the heck out of him. Greg was that guy. He was one of those guys that did anything for the team, and now he's doing what's best for him and his family. But you know what? We got guys that step in, and I don't think we would have really noticed these guys unless Russo wasn't here. So some of those defensive ends see the opportunity, and they're just stepping up to the challenge. And, what better guy to study than Greg Russo? I'm sure they sit in there and watch film from last year and see the good things and the great things that Greg did. So it's just a big shoe to fill, but I feel very confident in the defensive ends that we have now to set their standards to try to be as good as Greg Russo.
Great. Coach, we got David Ferronese from the Sun Sentinel. David, if you had a question for Coach Rumph.
Hey, Coach, I want to ask you kind of an alignment question or get an update on how competition is going among cornerbacks. If indeed Blades and Ivy would be the starting corners on the outside, how would either Christian Williams or Corey Couch factor into either nickel package, or maybe even are they pushing one of those or even one of the freshmen possibly?
The good thing about now, if you guys have watched, we kind of been rotating that corner with the ones and the twos. So I don't have a set starter right now, and I know what we had last year, and I know about Christian and TC, but the good thing about what we're doing here at the University of Miami is statistically every day I look at those stats, and whoever wins as far as the good and the bad statistically is a starter. So we rotated with the ones at least 2 or 3 times right now. In the spring, we did the same system, and we rotated that way, and some guys stood out, some didn't. But I can say that every day is up right now. It's a great time to do that because we have a little bit of time before we get into live bullets and chasing guys around for the trying to win games. So for these next few weeks, I just really want to turn up the competition. And I must say that this is probably the most competition I've seen as a cornerback coach here. And that involves those 2 freshmen, TC and Christian and DJ and Al. But, these 6 guys are going at it every day. And they understand that at any day they can be the starter on the ones, or they could be with the 2s, or could be with the 3s. So this is the beauty what Green Tree practice field is built off of is what I have going on right now. And I'm just enjoying that now. As we buckle down and get ready for a game, it'll be a little more evident who's starting. But right now, those guys are competing their butts off.
Awesome. Coach Rumph, we got one more for you. This is Matt Shodel at Canesport. Matt, if you had a question for Coach Rumph.
Hey, Mike. So you mentioned the competition, and you mentioned a little bit about the depth chart. And, ever since you've been here, Miami's been, I think, in the top 30 in pass efficiency defense. And every year it feels like I'm saying cornerback's a question mark. It's a question mark. It's a question mark. So like this year again, you sort of look at it and Trajan's gone and you don't really have the proven guys. A couple of guys, that played. One was a starter, then benched. Like, do you have any concerns about your group? Like, do you just see these guys being just as good as this group's always been?
Oh, without a doubt. I don't have a lot of concerns, but I do love the question mark. And I'm gonna be honest with you. A lot of times I start the season off, I put a huge question mark on my board and let the corners know you guys are the question mark. So thank you for that. But that's just some incentive for me and my guys. And it really does work because you don't want guys to come in feeling entitled because of what has happened here in the past. A lot of guys think they put that U on their helmet and I'm good and I'm a king and I'm going to dominate everybody. But in reality, there's a very tough slope that you have to go up that a lot of guys can't conquer. So I'm constantly trying to conquer that slope. Guys are competing hard. I wish Trajan the best. He was a great kid, but DJ Al got quality reps last year. And Takori and Christian got quality reps, and they were like special teams MVP. Those guys played their butts off. So, and then the two freshmen coming in, just getting these last few days of practice, and they've seen how those four guys work, and they're learning from it. I must say, a lot of those four corners that's been here for a year, they are coaching the heck out of those freshmen. And that's what I love the most. Like right now, DJ Ivy's right out there probably with Marcus Clark. And Takori Couch out there with Isaiah Dunson. And they want each other to get really good. So they've been competing, but I just love being that question mark and just trying to, get back to 17 when we're the number one in the country and the third down. And that's the grind of it. And you got to love that, So I appreciate all that.
Awesome. Coach Rumph, thanks for spending a few minutes with us today. And I'm sure we'll be talking to you soon.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you.